For our last panel discussion, we'll be focusing on how smart contracts can be used in Metaverse. So please welcome with a round of applause, Mr. Alek Johari, founder Animoy Solutions. He's also the creator of the podcast show, The Future of Web, where he talks about everything Web3 to enable its understanding and wider adoption. Mr. Johari, welcome to CWC. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much, Anuvrat. Can you hear me okay? Can you see me
Yes,
okay?
absolutely. We can see you and we
Fan-
can hear you.
Thank you.
Over to
Thank you
you
so
now
much.
to take the proceedings forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anuvrat. All right. All right, everybody. How is the day going? So, last session of the day for all the ones, who joined in early when it started till now must have been quite entertaining and, like insightful. Like I was just part of the, listening from backstage the earlier session. It was amazing. There's so many opportunities and possibilities what metaverse can bring for a lot of people. It was simply amazing. So once you get the recording, please go and check different sessions. All right, cool. So let's move on. My name is Alek, as you can see, and as Anubhav explained, I'm a founder of Animo Solutions. So what we do quickly do is we provide product and services for creating metaverses and NFT marketplaces and applications and blockchain, and we do a whole lot of stuff. I also run a design studio where we do do cool stuff in motion graphics and 3D animation, help a lot of people in marketing and stuff. So today I'll be moderating the session on the topic metaverses and how smart contracts can be used in metaverses. All right, so without further ado, let us get on with it and start with an introduction of our panelists today. So first up is Ume Mary Jane. She's popularly known as her, for her contagious energy as the energetic crypto Iron Lady. What a name! She's a
Hello.
blockchain and crypto. Hi, Ume. Can you hear us? Okay.
Yes, I can perfectly.
Fantastic. I'm just going to, just tell the viewers a little bit more about you. So you are a crypto and a content creator and a marketing strategist, right? Educator and a fierce public speaker. We'll talk about that as well. Who has spoken in standard Web3 events with a major number of enthusiasts in attendance with a lot of people. She has, been asked and interviewed to discuss crypto adoption by top brands and communities like CoinDesk TV and few others. She's also a brand strategist for Women in DeFi, a leading organization led by women of substance and capacity in the niche. And they've trained over 500 students and empowered them with the right knowledge to become financially independent and utilize opportunities which are there in blockchain space. Fantastic, Ume. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm great. I'm awesome. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely, it's pleasure to have you here. Let me quickly get on our the next guest. He is Rakesh. He's a co-founder of Metafi Labs. Can we have Rakesh up here, please?
Hello. Hi,
Fantastic.
Alak.
Hello,
Hey,
Rakesh.
Mary.
How are
Jane.
you?
Hey, I'm
Pleasure.
good. How are you?
Good. Fantastic. So I'm just going to quickly, tell a little bit more about you to the audience. So you're a co-founder and CEO of Metafi Labs, which is a part of the Jet Synthesis Group, right? So you've been innovating in the gaming and digital product space for quite some time now. One of the most popular cricket games in India called Real Cricket and Sachin Saga belongs to Jet, like which you are a part of. And now you are focusing on building metaverse ecosystems for Indian brands and government organizations. So fantastic. Let's give him a round of applause to Rakesh as well.
Thank you, Alak. Thank
Nice.
you.
Thank you. Now let's get. We have two more panelists. So it's going to be a full house. Stay tuned. We have some awesome discussions going to happen. During this session. So let's welcome Himanshu Sachin, who is a mentor, trainer, and a marketing expert. All right. So Himanshu is here. Welcome, Himanshu. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
audible.
yes, you are loud and clear. Right. So you work. You have 2 years experience in crypto space. You work with multiple companies again in crypto space as marketing executive, growth manager, and chief marketing officer. Interesting, growth you've had. You also founder and a co-founder at FinCrypt Zero and Eternal Bots. So that's again a product of Zelysia Multiverse. Go Google search if you want to know more about that. Uh, Important point is, Himanshu has trained more than 10,000 students in the crypto finance space and mentored multiple companies. He's currently working as a manager of community operations and marketing lead at Wow Talkies. Fantastic. Welcome, Himanshu. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. All right, last but not the least, let us welcome Amit Singh. Can we have him on stage, please? Hello, Amit. So good to see you here. He's a managing director of Head Start, as well as he runs a metaverse building platform called Socialite, that's in Web3 space. And each Socialite metaverse comes with configurable built-in Web3 constructs like social tokens, NFTs, DeFi, private ledgers, and DEX. Oh my God, that's too much. What do you want others to do? It's interesting. So majority of the interest that obviously you're getting is from Web2 to get into this space, and their product is built on substrate and use Polkadots, XCMP, and bridges for transfer of identity, assets, and data across chains. I want to talk about interoperability, with this. And you also run a company which builds Web3 space. Fantastic team of panelists we have today. Let's welcome all by a round of applause at our respective places. Thank you very much. How are you all doing? Let's have a quick question on that. End of the day, how are you feeling? Yeah.
I'm fine.
Fantastic.
I'm great.
Nice. Cool. So I'll, without wasting much more time, I'll just shoot my first question to Rakesh, and then we'll, invite other esteemed panelists. So Rakesh, again, remind the viewers the topic for today is metaverse and how smart contracts can be used in metaverses. All right. So before we go to smart contracts, let's understand what metaverses are. So Rakesh, like in your opinion, how do you see metaverses impacting the daily interaction in professional and personal spaces? Let's start with you.
Yeah, so we are already in a version of a metaverse, right? Like the whole network around us and the internet, it has already pulled us into a certain metrics. And today, the lines between reality, between physical and digital, it is almost blurring. So now, with the new definition of metaverse, right, we are trying to connect all these experiences into a single network and to create a cohesive system out of it. So starting from data ingestions into multiple systems, having omni-channel capabilities, then insights from multiple angles moving into certain systems and then diverging into the personalized experiences, right? So it has already begun to touch us. But within this ecosystem, right, somewhere we have lost some of our privacy, some of our certain concept that we shouldn't have. So the new iteration of metaverse is going to be focused on creating that individual spaces while maintaining that connectivity. And how do we create that interoperability standards, that data privacy standards and stuff? That is going to define the metaverse space.
So yeah, so it's interesting, you brought up, we're talking about Web3 decentralization, and you brought up the point of, like giving up freedom and, not having too much private spaces, right? So that is quite, like oxymoronic, like opposites to each other, right? So Amit, I would take your opinion here. Like, how do you see this bringing up? Because we're talking about decentralization because that's what the core of Web3 is, right? And now we're talking about metaverses, and then there's going to be talk about the data that now people can catch through the wearable devices, like eye scans and stuff. So how do you relate to that?
So again, it's something to be cautious about. One's identity, now when hundreds of millions, maybe billions of people are going to spend a lot of time on the metaverse and they're going to share a lot of their data on the metaverse, it is easy for it to potentially get hacked. And that's why we need, some strong mechanisms for data protection, user privacy, overall safety of users, because your identity getting compromised on the metaverse could be extremely chaotic and very troublesome for an individual. So I see it with an area that needs a good amount of collaboration, cooperation between different standards bodies to be able to define this stuff, and for people to implement stuff that generally is in the user's best interest.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ume, what do you like? You come from a very different background, like content creation and helping students. So how do you teach, your students about metaverses and these spaces? Can't hear
I
you.
was
You're on.
muted. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was muted. Like I'm back up. All right. Metaverse for me, I think understanding metaverse as a concept gives you a wider reach of how you explain it. So most times I feel if you can't explain anything, it means you don't understand it. All right. You explaining something comes from a bet, comes from a place of you understanding the concept. So from my place, and basically from me being a teacher and me being a content writer, our metaverse is very easy to explain. All right, it's more like our spiritual world where we feel that whenever we die, all right, there's this spiritual body we take over there. So that spiritual
yeah,
body in the metaverse is more like our virtual reality. Then at that point, I think
yeah.
most times we believe in spirituality that there's this kind of feeling that whenever something bad is happening to you in the spiritual realm, you can feel it. So that's where the augmented reality comes in. So most times I feel that if you are really knowledgeable in metaverse, you can break it in any terms. You can relate that other things to relate things to. Because if you're knowledgeable in that part, for me to understand metaverse, I can look at different aspects of life to be able to bring it downstream, all right? To be able to make people understand it. I think for now that I explained it with spiritual terms, you could actually relate because everybody understands spirituality, everybody understands your spiritual body being the virtual reality of your virtual form on the metaverse, then the augmented reality you having a connection with the spiritual world. So something can just happen and you're like, I feel somebody's calling me somewhere. I feel there's something
Yeah.
going on. You get me?
Okay.
So that augmented
So
reality
yeah.
now helps try to
Yeah. So you're
so
saying that you can have your out of body experience, and you can also have some experience that you're not really having it in your physical self, right? Like that's what I see. You saying. So yeah. So Himanshu, like let's get you in here. You are also a part of different projects in Web3 space, and again you're also coming from an education background. You've taught so many people. So how would
Mhm.
you see this metaverse space developing right now?
See, I guess first of all, like I've been working on a lot of metaverses project. So one of the product that we are building, it is also a concept based, a multiverse ecosystem that we are trying to build. And we at Watokis, we are also working on the same mechanism of the metaverse building on the later point of time. So the main goal over here is like we are a fan engagement platform, okay, and we wanted to provide a platform where people can come and they can join the live shows that are happening. So it's like new things that are going to happen, okay. So now you need not to be physically present on those live shows. You can directly come to the metaverse and you can participate on those metaverse
Mm-hmm.
things. So that is something that is quite growing, okay. So you see a
Yeah.
lot of things that will be happening in the metaverse space.
Cool. So what I understand, like from this discussion so far, is the metaverse can be, privacy challenging. It can be an out of experience, right? And then obviously it becomes a little new medium for experiencing some things that you've not experienced so far. So these are two, three things. So let's come, like to the point, like how do you regulate it? So we see that smart contracts becoming one of the ways of doing it, right? Like we have smart contracts which is supposed to do some form of automatic responses and calculations. So my question to all of you is like, why do we need smart contract in metaverses? So like whoever wants to take it up first, maybe you can go with Umed this time. You're muted. You're muted. 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 Can't hear you.
okay. Okay, I think I'm back. Okay, first of all, we understand that metaverse is meant to be a decentralized form, all right, a decentralized reality. And we are trying as much as possible to cut off any middleman, all right, any form of centralization, any form of governing body, central governing body. And that's why smart contract comes in. And if you look at the difference between DeFi and centralized finance, the basic form is the smart contract, making sure it does all the work. So what smart contract does, it's basically transact or make a transaction successful when a predetermined let's say criteria is already done. So if what you do not, let's say for example, and smart contract says do this transaction, execute this transaction when Mary Jane does this, and don't execute this transaction when Mary Jane doesn't do this. So it actually help away with different middlemen, third middle parties, and also centralized bodies. So smart contract is very, very, very functional. It's a dominant factor for the metaverse because it helps us run things cohesively, make sure run things interoperably, make sure run things scalably. So that is why I feel smart contracts will run a very, very, very run dormant role, since we are trying to make sure the virtual reality and augmented reality is very decentralized, and that is where
Sure.
smart contracts play a role.
Absolutely. So, Amit, sorry, Rakesh, you made that point about, like privacy. So, can smart contracts, like the way Ume explained, come into the picture of helping us, give that privacy that we actually need while being
Exactly.
decentralized?
So yes, so this is where what the point that I said comes into play, right? The very nature of anything that is on blockchain allows smart contracts to be programmable, open, transfer, and to be verifiable, right? That is the major USP, having smart contracts deployed. So suppose you are building a financial system within a metaverse that has already happened. You see that success factors in Sandbox and Decentraland, and one of the successes, why they were very big successes, is that the decentralization of this contract operation, right? They were programmed and they were very non-custodial in nature. So they became very easily traceable, and the trustworthiness built, like the doxing became kind of in the inbuilt, right? So this is where regulation came in like pretty fast. Like otherwise, you would have to engage third-party regulators to come and audit your code, audit your financial systems and stuff. Now, smart contracts will be able to do that of its own, but maintaining that non-custodialness or maintaining that traceableness, right? So this itself removes a lot of risk elements and adds a lot of strength to it. And we can see the success factors going into like Third Verb is developing a low-code smart contract builders. Alchemy is doing its own thing. So you see that people are also recognizing just having a metaverse, right? It is not going to be sufficient. You have to have controlling mechanisms so that the users have their freedom to do what they want, but they don't get abused in certain ways,
Yeah.
especially in financial and regulatory stance.
Absolutely.
That's
So
right.
that, absolutely, so I totally agree with that, because what happens is most of the, some of the hacks that we've had, we've seen has happened because of certain issues with the smart contracts themselves.
Yeah.
So Amit, like you building that platform where, it's going to be available, and you have like this plethora of, NFTs and text, everything available. So how are you, seeing usage of smart contracts in the platform that you're building?
Sure. There are multiple things that we guys are doing where smart contracts become relevant. Now, for example, we are creating, every user will be able to have a home of their own, which is their gateway to the metaverse. So they will be able to land into their own little virtual world, and then they use a portal to be able to teleport to any other metaverse. Now, behind the scenes, how this really happens, how the network gets switched, etc., is some of the work that we guys are doing on the interoperability aspect. Now, a metaverse by itself, a Web3 metaverse by itself, is a golden opportunity for the social token game to come into effect. Now, social tokens were historically touted as the next big thing.
Yeah.
People calling it like a potentially $100 billion industry, but they never took off. They never took off because we started giving people social tokens and asked them to utilize tokens to do things that they were already used to doing for free. Right? The platform doesn't change, but on the metaverse, your engagement model completely changes because it's a new economy, it's a new world altogether. So this social token could end up being the currency, the native currency of that particular world, and you define new rules over there, which we have reason to believe people will do. Now, the moment individuals start spending a lot of time on the metaverse, they have their new currency. Obviously, they start engaging and interacting towards building an economy. Many aspects of this economy can then be automated. For example, you could use this whole teleporting capability and lease it out to other people, and this could be done by a smart contract that, hey, every time you do it, this amount of token gets transferred from your wallet onto the smart contract wallet owned by the teleporting provider. People are doing renting, staking of their land or whatever they're building over there. All of these things are definitely created using smart contracts. A lot of DeFi, like just like any other investment, people would want their money to keep growing on the metaverse as well. There was a
absolutely, absolutely.
and all of that are implemented via smart contracts. But another very important place where smart contracts come into play, and this touches upon the privacy point, is potentially a lot of these high throughput, high scale transactions could be happening on L2s, maybe leveraging zero knowledge proofs. Now, how these proofs get settled on a base layer, etc., they also require smart contracts, and these things might have a very big role to play in privacy protection and, of course, scalability.
Yeah, absolutely. And scalability, and while doing that, they have to think from a negative point of view, that how they can prevent hacks through their code. What happens is, when you try and build one on top of the other, we think, okay, so this function is going to work, and it's going to give us what we need. But how we're going to provide within that function, think from the hacker's perspective, because tons and tons of money has been lost because of some small
100%.
glitches, and so that's a very, very important point, smart contract. So Imanshu, I would want to understand from your point of view, so smart contracts obviously play a pivotal role, not only in metaverses, on blockchain itself, from the point when Ethereum launched. So how are you seeing usage of smart contracts? So what I would say is, how do you say that smart contracts can govern transactions in metaverses?
Yeah, so if you look at this smart contract thing, so if you look at the metaverse was there in the market for a very long period of time, okay, but this new metaverse where we have Web3 implemented with the metaverse, it gives you a lot of other benefits. Okay, so if you look at, there's a new way of doing auctions. Okay, so you have been going to the auctions houses previously, where you go and participate in the auction houses, but now you can do the same thing over the metaverse. It's like you're becoming a quite popular thing. Okay, where you can go and participate in the auction houses. Okay, and this is all these things are done through the smart contracts. Okay, you need not to do things like manually. Okay, you can go directly there and you can participate on the auction houses, place your bids, and you get things done on the metaverse as well. Okay, so smart contracts playing a huge role of building the things in and making them automatic. Okay, so you need not to do things. Okay, and also it's secure your money as well. Okay, so like privacy is there, you get things that is done automatically, and then you can be the part of the ecosystem as well, and you can also enjoy things that you can't do while going physically. Okay, so if you wanted to attend the auction house that is happening in London, you can do it from home as well. So that is something that's provided.
Absolutely. So so like basically automating everything, just creating a micro out of it and then create. So like one question is, how would you define an ideal metaverse? Let's start with Himanshu. Like you're talking so passionately about it. So what is ideal metaverse for you?
Yeah, I guess there's nothing which can define an ideal metaverse, because if you look at the current metaverse ecosystem, this is still a developing concept. Okay, and I see whenever somebody talks about metaverse, they say that it is going to be $1 billion economy. But see, if you look at the current aspect, it is still a more developing things. And if you look at for a longer vision, it can become a like big platforms. But if you look at the current scenario, it is still a development phase. Okay, and if you are looking for ideal metaverse, it can be like, see what we are trying to build. So if somebody asks me like what kind of metaverse you are trying to build, so we are trying to build a metaverse where you can go and come like where you can go and do some house parties kind of concepts. You can create your own personal spaces. You can bring your friends, you can go and participate in the auction houses that we are going to do. Then you can also play games within the metaverse ecosystems. So whatever you wanted to do in real life, you can also do in the metaverse as well. Also, if you wanted to build your own dream house, that can also be done. So we'll provide you the assets. You just need to fix these things up and you are done.
Okay, so from your perspective, I see it as more of entertainment and aspirational, right? Like you said, go to picnic and do a lot of aspirational stuff, and okay. So Rakesh, how do you see as an ideal metaverse? What do you think about it? Or is it possible? Like, is it something that we should even think about, or it's just like a
has there ever
figment of
been
imagination?
something? Yeah. So has there ever been anything ideal until now? Right. There has nothing been. Everything has its own up and downs. Right.
Yeah.
So one thing that I really fixate on is that anything that brings a sense of togetherness, right? That is going to be one of the strong ideals of metaverse, right? Giving us the connected experiences and allowing us to move from one ecosystems to other without having to lose our train of units.
Oh
So
yes,
yeah,
interoperability. It's something that I would want to do. So I want to take the assets. What I would, really want to see is that we take the assets, the avatars, and the followers with maintaining security and privacy and decentralization. I don't know if that is possible or not, but that's you getting towards the idea. And take all of
like
that and move from one,
like we said
say,
in the
blockchain to
start,
the
right?
other. Yeah, Star Trek. Yes, that's one
Like we
example.
said in the start, right? Anything that we do in metaverse is oxymoronic, but we have to do it because
Yes,
it's always a
absolutely.
pursuit.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Ume, what do you think about it? What is the ideal metaverse for you? You're muted, can't hear you. Can't hear you, can't hear you. Can you say something? No, can't hear you. No, can't hear.
You might have to change your audio settings.
Yeah, yeah.
Shiva.
So, Amit, can we just, yeah, we're just
Hey
going to have
man,
a
for
good
me, it's
discussion.
for me the ideal metaverse is interoperable. Like the internet today is very seamless. We are able to use it. We don't say that we are using HTTP, we are using TCP/IP, we are using SMTP to send email, right? But
Yeah,
these are the building blocks that it took for the email for the internet of today to actually become as seamless as it is. Now, doing that for the
yeah,
metaverse is a far cry right now. All of these building blocks need to be created.
yeah,
To me, that ideal metaverse would just be seamlessly interoperable, and that's a long way. Like Gartner says, it's only in 2028, 29 that we'd start seeing interoperability happening.
yeah,
The early efforts on these aspects have already started. A long way to go.
yeah. Absolutely. So, three have said interoperable, one has said about more entertainment and other things. Ume, what's your take on this? Ideal metaverse.
An ever evolving and improving metaverse, the same way we are having blockchain and crypto space ever evolving. All right. So for me, it's
Yeah,
more interoperability where people could interact with different things without limitation. And two, scalability, all right, where I and three, and I feel we like say security. Because the thing is, every single human being, every single person wants a side of them to be secured, a part of them to be secured. And that's why we are on the blockchain, where your identity cannot be vouched out, where your identity cannot be compromised. So I can do anything I want to do on the metaverse and still believe that my physical identity cannot be compromised. All right. So number one, interoperability, two, scalability, then three, yeah, security. Yeah, and more
security.
inclusion.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting take. So I think we just have 3-4 minutes now. So I'll just have an open, again, a very, very, like a generic question. So, in all the experiences that you've had discussing with others within the industry about metaverses, so how do you think is the general public view around metaverses? So, we'll go with Amit on this. Oh, we have Abhinav as well. So, Abhinav, we'll take
Um,
you at the end then.
sure. So of course, everybody is pretty excited. McKinsey says $5 trillion economy. I'm I'm forgetting the name of the bank, but people range, it goes from 5 billion, 8 billion, 11 billion, 13 sorry 11 trillion, 13 trillion, right? All big brands are very excited about it. Everybody seems to have metaverse in their roadmap. All the research reports that I've been reading, industry overall is pretty bullish on it. I think mid to long term winner is gonna be like the centralized Web2 metaverses. A lot of money being spent from there. That's where all the users are, and people will kind of eventually get to a place where they want to own and control, their data, their stuff. Kind of just protect themselves. That's where blockchains will come into being, and
Yeah.
that's when
It,
Web3 comes in and kind of becomes mainstream.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just have one quick, so it's a good thing, owning everything. But my question, to that day, which we obviously can't take that fully right now, is: are people ready for it? Are they ready to own their data, their personalities? And that's a bigger question. Let's.
Sure.
I see more of
Maybe when
saying
there's a
yes.
cyber war at a global scale, and that's how the wars of the future are going to be, people will start caring. Like right now, they don't.
Yeah, I know, I know. Cool. So Himanshu, let's what's your take on this? What's people's
Uh,
view according to you about metaverses?
I guess everyone is bullish these days. So like if you look at Flipkart launched Flippers recently, and then Meta coming up. So like everyone is bullish about it, and we are also building the same thing. The other countries, other companies are also building the metaverse ecosystem. So I guess metaverse is something that is going to be a $1 like $1 billion economy. So let's see.
Yeah, everybody wants a pie of that, right?
Yeah.
Rakesh, your take on that?
Yeah, so it's the same question that was asked to JFK, right? Are we ready to go to the moon? So
Yes.
only when we land it, we'll know. It's the same concept. But the general perception, right? Metaverse is not something brands want to miss out. So the large influx of money that you see come is always brand led, and it is typically a Web2 derivative that they want to build. One sentiment that we have noticed in the users is that they don't care what it is until or unless that as long as it is good and immersive and it gives them that freedom, they are ready to come. It doesn't mean it's Web 2, Web 3, or whichever gives them the best experience, they will onboard. So that is why we focus a lot on creating that better user experiences so that onboarding onto Web 3 platforms is as easy as possible. So we'll
Oh,
continue to
that's
build on it.
absolutely, and that is one of the biggest challenges, if you're solving, and everybody building in the Web3 space should solve is onboarding. Like, I'll give a quick example, creating a MetaMask wallet versus logging into Facebook. Just see the number of steps that you have to take, and that's a huge brainer. So it's fantastic, and I
You should
applaud all
have
the companies doing it.
you should have seen how difficult it was to buy crypto before 2012. So you have come so far now. Now it's really easy. So it has its own
Yeah, yeah,
evolutionary time, and we'll get there for sure.
yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that will define, which goes a little further, and which kind of
Yeah.
stays somewhere in the middle. Fantastic. Ume, your take.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
First thing first. First thing first, I think I actually have this question every time. Is Metaverse only about entertainment and just for Balenciaga, Nike, Forbes, and just this luxury lifestyles? Because we are not seeing proper use of the Metaverse yet. Because Metaverse is actually beyond the lifestyle, the entertainment, the luxuries, the way we are seeing a lot of luxury company trying to like have lands in the Metaverse, but we are not yet seeing schools, yeah. We are not yet seeing work bases apart from I think Binance and KuCoin. We're not seeing work entity actually owning lands and actually say, okay, well, apart from the parties, apart from the games, apart from the marriages, let's move remote, all right? Let's move on site and begin to work on the metaverse. Let's leave on site and begin to like school on the metaverse. I think it will go a long way with a lot of adoption, innovation, the same way we are seeing them soulbound tokens. So for you to actually graduate from schools on the metaverse, right? There's this particular thing that gives you an identity that you actually went to this school. So that is where the entire let's say concept of sober tokens begin to like come into full actualization, because things we are seeing is based on, will I say, we are still improving. All right, the same way we are still seeing Web3 isn't here yet. So, but most times you see a lot of companies putting on their white paper that they are solving their actually Web3 utilities, and we have not seen
Yeah,
Web3 here yet, because Web3 is simply onboarding every single sector on the blockchain technology. I've not seen every single sector. The only sector we have seen is just the financial sector, which is only the cryptocurrency. We haven't seen health yet on the Web3. We haven't seen
yeah.
education on Web3 yet. We
That
haven't
will
seen
happen.
military aids. We haven't seen entertainment.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree. I agree. Like what you're saying is there's a lot of challenges that we need to solve in metaverse. The question was like how people are perceiving the way it is right now. The session before this, before our session, they were talking about metaverses in healthcare industry. So so it's a long way to go. I understand. What your question is. There's a lot of possibilities. So Abhinav, now to you. How has your experience been when you talk about metaverses to people? And after that, we
Yeah,
wrap
I
up.
always use a word called Anikantvad. This term has come from Prakrit language, which is the mother tongue of
Yeah.
Sanskrit, if I would call it.
Yeah.
And Anekantvad means multi perspective. And when
Yeah.
you add purpose to the perspectiveness, this is where we are heading to. And that's exactly what defines metaverse. Everyone
True.
has
True.
found some perspective and a purpose behind it, and they are creating metaverse in their own way, which is what I see. I just joined this panel because this was the last panel before we go for the concluding speech. And I know Rakesh pretty well. I know Alec, you very well. And I know about Wow Talkies. I've been collecting NFTs out there. And of course, good to meet you, Amit and Ume. I've been following you on LinkedIn for a long, long time. So it's all, fantastic. And we are already living the metaverse, right? I mean, why do we
Yeah.
only need to look at the 3D experience of it? Well, even the digital
Yeah.
experience is metaverse. And
Yeah.
probably today we are talking on video boxes. Tomorrow we will have our own avatars. And next day we will have our own meta human brands that are going along and connecting with each other.
Absolutely. I was thinking, we should have a next CWC in the metaverse itself, with avatars and all.
We
You never know.
Thank you so much. And we are actually going to get there. And I will share some more insights in the concluding session. So thank you so much for joining, Alok. You have been an amazing moderator. I'm sure that all of us would agree to that. And
Thank you so much. Thank you
as
so
we
much.
speak about Rakesh's company is building a platform that can allow people to build metaverses in like matter of minutes, which is fantastic, phenomenal. And I see that there is a lot more potential that the forum can drive, and we will continue to seek your advice, guidance, and putting these kind of events together to bring it to the ecosystem that we all can curate. In the recent report that McKinsey said, they said that India is going to be the Web3 spine of the world. And I don't see a reason why we cannot. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm coming to you, May. I'm coming to you. I know that you would come because I saw your post a couple of weeks ago on that. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that it is not about who's doing what, it is about what all can be achieved together. And that's where we all should be heading to. So our host Anurat is here. That means we all are going to get kicked out very soon. So over to you.
Over to you.
No, if it was for me, we would be
everyone.
talking all night. If it was for me, we would be talking all night. But again, we have some limitations. So I want to thank Alek first of all for moderating a absolutely wonderful panel. I think the last one was almost a cherry on the cake. This cake has been the most delicious cake I think a lot of our viewers would have eaten today. Thank you to all our panelists. Some of you have joined from all over the world. Thank you everyone, and we hope to see you again next year in the next iteration of Crypto World Conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody.